Welcome to Positive Philter with your host, Philip Wilkerson, a podcast that focuses on friends, family, health, and career, with a little self-help along the way. Please join me in this journey for self-improvement, and I hope what I have to share will make you a better person, thus making the world a better place. I hope you enjoy the show. I hope you enjoy the show. Hello, people of the world. It's Philip Wilkerson back with another episode of Positive Philter. I'm joined by a special guest. Well, everyone's a special guest. I'm joined by the good Dr. Kevin Reese. Now, I'm in all kinds of spaces. I don't even know what group we're in. I think we're probably in Black male educators or, MPHC, higher ed professionals. I don't know what group, but we have not connected, but this is our first time. And I can already see the energy is really great and really there. And I think we're going to have a great conversation. I think I already know my questions and things I want to ask because he is, as I said, the good doctor. But Dr. Reese, can you give the listeners a little bit of background on who you are?
Hey, everybody. It's your boy Kev coming to you loud, live, and in color. And I am excited to be on the Positive Philter show today. So listen, so I am Kevin Reese. Listen, my mama named me Kevin. You can call me Kevin. Okay, let's be at work, right? Because I feel like some people let they get these titles and they get out of hand. Okay, only call me doctor. Come on now. Let's be realistic and down to earth, right? They always raise a question like, see, if you had students you were serving before you got your doctor, they called you Kevin or Reese. Do you make them call you doctor now? It's just too much sometimes. But I appreciate it. Thank you for the respect. I definitely appreciate that. So originally born and raised in Dayton, Ohio, the birthplace of aviation. Nobody does it better than Dayton, Ohio. We are the hometown of funk. Okay, Computer Love, Roger Troutman, the Voice Box, Shirley Murdoch, that's all us, okay? But I am originally from Dayton, Ohio, a graduate of the Troutman Madison City School Systems. I went to Kentucky State University in Frankfort, Kentucky, Kentucky's only public HBCU, aka the House on the Hill. Shout out to the Thoroughbreds. An alum of North Park University in Chicago. Go Vikings. And just recently, May 2024, time is really flying by. I received my doctorate, earned my doctorate. Come on, touch your name and say earned, okay? I earned my doctorate from the University of Southern Mississippi. Southern Miss to the top. Go Golden Eagles. And so I am a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, founded by three amazing young men striving to make the world a better place. I am the founder of Soul to Soul Line Dancing from your soul all the way down to your soul. I teach 5 to 85 rhythm, no rhythm. I just came to have a good time. The founder of the Vision of Excellence Scholarship Program, where I assist first generation Black males with the opportunity to go to college, right? Somebody had to pour into me and want to be a blessing to me. And so I try and pay it forward as much as possible. We're celebrating 11 years this year. So I'm really excited about the things we've been able to accomplish with the help of some really incredible donors and people that I know. And last but not least, I am the founder of the Wednesday Experience podcast. The Wednesday Experience podcast takes listeners on a journey of life, laughter, wisdom, and everything in between. You never know who's going to stop through the podcast. My friend, my family, my soror, my fraternity brothers, the lady in the ice cream aisle down to Walmart, the cashier at Popeyes. You just never know who's going to stop by to provide a little bit of wisdom, encouragement, and a whole lot of laughter. So that's me in a nutshell. I'm a higher ed professional. This is year number 18 for me. I love working with college students. It keeps me young. And I would learn things that I would never learn sitting in a cubicle in corporate America. And I love my kids. And I've had a chance to experience all aspects of higher ed, mainly on the student affairs side, but residence life and housing, student conduct, admissions and enrollment management, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And now I'm serving as the AVP of Student Affairs and Dean of Students at a small liberal arts HBCU in South Carolina. Had to think about it for a second. Like, wait, where are you at now?
A country traveler or, U.S. traveler. I love it. We shared before we got on this that family is really important, but and you also shared a little bit about your being a first gen. Was it always the expectation that you were going to go to college?
Absolutely. My mom just wanted to make sure that I had the best options available to me. And she would always say, "Oh, you're going to college. That's not an option." So that why are we even having this conversation? It's not an option. And so I think from there, I remember I had a teacher in third grade, and he told me, he was like, I don't see you going past the 10th grade. And we often think about that, that prison pipeline, right? And
Yeah.
so I remember when I got my bachelor's, I went back to show it to him, and I've gone back. Well, he died recently, but I've gone back to show him every degree that I've had, every accomplishment, to let you know that your words didn't have a negative impact on me, and that I'm going to succeed regardless. So, absolutely.
Well, that's great. Did he actually reconcile or say sorry
I
or
don't know if he
not?
did. He never apologized. He's like, "Oh, that's good. I guess you're one of the good ones." You're still being
That's
negative, okay? And that was
uh,
I was 9. I'm just over. I'm almost 42, right? And for you to never even apologize and accept what you said, that says a lot about who he was as a person.
that's sad. And then also the fact that he was in education is probably not the best place to be, right? He said he's a
Right,
teacher.
and I mean, and the crazy part is the school you're working at is 88% black. Come on, sir. Now he was a white
Yeah.
gentleman, right? But yeah, come on, let's be serious.
Well,
Why
to the kids that you at, yeah. Yeah.
you're in Longville.
So you did speak about it too. You said that your nonprofit is your way, or not the thing, the scholarships you provide was how you're giving back to give that opportunities for other students. Was it a challenge for you to go to college when you were growing up, and that's why you're doing it now to pour back into others?
I wouldn't say it was a challenge, though, Philip. I wouldn't say it was a challenge. So, when I was in 8th grade, I joined a program called the Young Scholars
Mhm.
through our community college. And if you completed the program up until your senior year of high school, you got 2 years of free college at the local
Yeah.
community college. And so I did that and was able to finish those first 2 years on my gen eds, and then I transferred to Kentucky State University. I was a resident assistant there. I had some academic scholarships, some, extracurricular scholarships, and the people who just poured in, people from my church and my
Mhm.
family who wanted to see me succeed. And so I wouldn't say it was a challenge. Finding money, you just have to apply yourself, and I think people often they neglect that. Money is found in the oddest of places, right?
Yeah. And so you're also thinking about the like African proverb, Ubuntu, right? It's not me, it's we. So then, you had a whole community. Talk a little bit about your community, maybe in community college. I know a lot, I transferred, sometimes they're like, oh man, community college, you don't get that full college experience. But talk a little bit about that, the experience that you had in community college and then, the shift to that experience at the 4-year college that you had.
Listen, I had a great time at community college. Okay, I had a blast, and I know people say, "Oh, you don't get the full experience." Well, I don't know what y'all did. Y'all must have did it wrong because I had a great time. But I was also a frequent visitor and a user of the resources that were available to me. So the Young Scholars Office had an office on the community college campus, and they kept us all engaged and involved. And I think I appreciated that the most. They had student organizations on at the community college, and so that kept me involved. I had a chance to represent the institution from time to time. So I think you have to. It's an equal it's an investment on both parts, right? You can't say, "Oh, I didn't have a good experience. I didn't do nothing." What did you do? Like, what did you part Did you sit in your room all day? Did you go right home after class? Did you stick around and meet different people? The experiences and the opportunity were there. People just left, and they didn't take advantage of those things. But I had a wonderful opportunity to meet and greet with those individuals and to utilize those resources. So then, when I got to my 4-year institution, oh, it was up from there. Okay,
Yeah.
I think I did a little bit of everything at Kentucky State University. Um, I was a resident assistant. I was a student ambassador. I played on the Honda Campus All Star Challenge academic team for three
Yeah, man,
years.
I did
I
that
mean,
one time.
listen, I ran for Mr. Kentucky State University. I was the senior class president and the senior class treasurer. Don't act right.
So you
Yep.
did everything, man. You was
all,
involved.
all the things. And I worked a part-time job at Steak and Shake. Okay. So you can't tell me I had the full experience at my HBCU. And I tell people when you attend an HBCU, it is a literal baptism of Black excellence, Black culture, spirituality, creativity, and just awesomeness, right? Like, because in my hometown, I'm the smartest person, like, I'm the cream of the crop to get to an experience where everybody's coming and they're the cream of the crop too, right? And so it's just breeding excellence, and that experience was something I'll never ever forget. And I'm always going to be an advocate for HBCUs. Always. I mean, you do what's best for you, right? But my HBCU prepared me to take on the world.
I love it. I mean, I'm pretty sure, isn't there like HBCUs in Ohio? why did you choose to go out of state?
So I growing up, we went to Central State every Tuesday. It seemed like on a field trip, okay, and that was too close.
Okay,
That was too close to my mama. Okay,
there it is.
I
Okay,
want to be. I want to be able to grow up just a little bit, right, and get out from underneath my mom and my family, and grow and develop as a person. So Central State is about 25 minutes from my house, and then Wilberforce was right across the street.
I love
So
St.
we're not
Wilberforce. Yeah,
Wilberforce either.
yeah,
And then those are the only two HBCUs in Ohio. So I was like, let me get out and let me see what else is close, right? And so I ended up Kentucky State was closer. My mom told me Morehouse was too far for me to go to. So the three that I selected were originally Morehouse, North Carolina Central, and
see that.
Alabama A&M. Okay, all those were too far from my mama. She said, I got to be able to get to you, right? And so Kentucky is about 2.5 hours from our house, and so far enough way to grow up and develop as a person, as a professional, as a scholar. But then also I can get home to my mom if I need to go wash clothes or if I want a home cooked meal. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes, totally get it. No, totally get it. I think some of the listeners know, like, uh, I did my first 2 years of undergrad at Bowie State in Maryland, and then transferred to James Madison. But now that I think about it in my lens, I tell people I still would have transferred. I wanted to go to JMU anyway. That's just me. But I think that in my lens, I would have been more honed in on my Bowie State experience, and that's on me. And I think that kind of goes to your point about the investment internally. Like, I would have invested more instead of going home every weekend and stuff like that. So I think that's a great point to make, that like you can make to young people, particularly young people that start college. It's like, it's half, some of that agency is still on you, right? Like you say, oh, I'm not doing this, doesn't have this. Well, are you getting outside? Are you doing things actively to get involved? Which I saw that you did very well, get involved. When was when did the spark hit you to continue in your educational journey? To get the masters and keep going.
I had some really amazing mentors in undergrad. So Reginald C. Davis and Patricia Niemba, Miss Leslie Thomas, Dr. Vernell Bennett, Mary Evans Sias. These folks were really catalysts for my success. But I would attribute a lot of this to Reginald C. Davis. He was our dean of students at Kentucky State, AVP and dean of students at Kentucky State. And I asked him, like, so what is it? What did you get a degree in that you get to work with college students all day? Because we go back and forth. He would joan on me, I would joan on him, right?
Yeah.
I just love the interaction, and I said, I want to do this full time, right? I love this. And so he's like, oh, I majored in college student personnel, and I went to this school, and I was like, I think I'm majoring in that too, right? And so I ended up going to major in higher ed administration. I was like, I just really enjoy this work, and so I did that. I graduated with my master's in 2013, and I moved to Nebraska in 2016 from Florida to work at the University of Nebraska. I said, when I get there, I'm gonna start my doc program because they had a really good program. Well, listen, I must have missed the GRE test at least 5 times. Okay, I kept missing the deadline, and I said, well, okay, Big Jesus, what am I missing here, right? Like, is it just not time for me? Is it alignment not right? So I didn't end up starting my program until 2020.
Very real.
2021.
Surprise! Something significant happened in 2022. Right.
Okay. And I was like, I said, hey, Big Jesus, I just need a break. I just slow down a little bit. I didn't want him to shut the whole world down, right? But I appreciate it. But I ended up my program in 2021, and that was probably the best option for me. I really enjoyed the cohort model of my program, and to see other Black men in my program was absolutely astonishing to me. We started together and we finished together. So 5 of the Black men in my program, I'm really close to those brothers. That's probably one of my favorite pictures that I took graduation weekend was with my brothers, because it's only about 2% of Black men have a doctorate. So it was a sight to see, but it was something that not many people get a chance to see or experience.
I love it. So I'll be honest that I didn't even know I never thought about a career in higher ed, but you are the bright student leader on campus that connected with higher ed administrator, and that was sparking that journey. Did you think that, like, you said AVP was the goal, and so you knew you had to get a doctorate? Was that kind of what it was? Or like, let me just be in higher ed a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
Goal was the college presidency of an HBCU. But the more I worked in higher ed, I said, maybe that's just not for me, because once you get so high up, you're only kissing babies and cutting ribbons and on the legislative floor, fighting for money and dodging fires. And that's what I wanted to do. Like I really enjoy my student contact,
Connections.
being
Yeah.
able to inspire and empower and encourage and motivate right here on the ground. And so I say, I'm content on where I'm at right now. Who knows what the next step is? It's been 18 years working in higher ed, and who knows? I'm still relatively young, and so I might be in a second career. Who knows?
No, I love it. And I think about that too. Like, I read a lot of the Chronicle in higher ed, and they talk about the loneliness of being a university president. And technically, you're like you just said, right? It's a politician, a businessman, and I guess a researcher all in one, right? And so much. It's not for the faint of heart. And I don't know. I'm the opposite. I was like, if I get my doctorate, which I'm working on right now, that's the furthest thing from my aspirations. I don't want to be no university president. I don't want that smoke. Um, but one thing you did talk about was the importance of community. I love that you said that you found a cohort of other Black male students. Can you just talk about that sense of belonging, and you know what what did you take away from that? Like having others that are going through the same academic journey as you to talk to.
I think for me, it was our first night together when I logged on to our program information session, like welcome to the cohort, looking at these other Black men who look like me, right? Not just in the male form, but they're curious, they're creative, they're you know looking at themselves. Like we had this conversation later, like is this for me? Can I do this? Am I worthy of this opportunity? And so seeing others, it just made me excited, right? And it gave me a chance to say, we as Black men, we are encouraging the next generation of Black men to be better than what we were.
Mhm.
And so meeting those brothers, they're just amazing people.
And were they from all over the country or different spots in the world, or
All
what
over
was
the
it?
country. Our program was online, and so it was people from all over the country.
And so were there any shared unique experiences that you talked about, or different institutional experiences? Like talk a little bit about that that diversity within your group of Black men.
So we all worked somewhere different. And oddly enough, one of my brothers, he was a high school band director,
Okay.
majoring in higher ed. And I'm like, well, how did you? Okay, well, how
Okay.
did you? Okay, cool. Mainly, I think we all worked at PWIs at that time.
Mhm.
Um, and I know many of them. I think I'm the only one at HBCU now, but all across the country, of different walks of life, all different fraternities. In our Greek picture, I think the only one that was not represented was Iota
Oh,
in in,
wow.
in in our group picture that we took. And on days that when you're in this doctoral journey, I often liken this to academic hazing. Touch your neighbor and
Yeah.
say, "Oh, okay." And then Marsha Ambrosia's song, "Late Night, Early Mornings," because that's what it is. The doctoral program is a labor of love. Like it's something you got to be tied into, connected with, and sure that you want to do this, because I think not I think it will test every emotion that you have. At the end of my program, I felt like Whitney Houston. I have nothing, okay, left to give. I am over this. I was ready. In my last 6 weeks, I was ready to throw in the towel. My chair kept sending back edits and more edits, and I'm like, "Ma'am, come on." I appreciate it now, but I mean, at that point, I was just tired. Work was draining me out. I was burned out from my job, and the program was burning me out. Trying to, balance everything, being everything to everyone but myself.
Well, one, thank God you didn't quit because you did it. But then, like, what was like, what would you say to pour into someone now? Like, you're done. Like, okay, let me phrase. What could you have done during that experience to not get to that point of burnout? Or it's just that is inevitable. Like, that's going to happen.
Setting better boundaries, right? I was a director at that point, so I had other folks depending on me as well, right? And I was in a state. I worked at a state system school, and you have to think, the office that I worked in at the time, we were on the chopping block for DEI, and so trying to quell their fears. Oh, it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be okay, y'all. Our office gonna be here next year. And then I'm thinking like it probably won't be. Like, the administration that we're under, it probably won't be, but keeping the smile up
Yeah.
for them that
So
everything's
you're in
gonna
the
be
middle.
okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
you were in the middle of that. Yeah.
that was a lot of additional pressure, but setting better boundaries. You have to. right? You can't be everything to everyone. You've got to take some time. My granny always told me you can't pour from an empty cup, and I many times I think I likened it to a coffee pot. Okay, the coffee pot was empty and it was cracked and
And
burning
you're
at the bottom.
swirling in there. You kept on pouring it, but it was yeah.
I mean, there
You're
was
just
nothing
you're in
to pour.
auto mode. You're in auto pour mode, but there was nothing out coming out.
Yeah, I mean, like the bottom was black and burning. Okay,
Yeah,
and so but if you're going to do it, be committed to it. Commit to a topic or a research field that is important to you. You
mm,
know, I'm a black man, and so I chose the importance of Black male student support programs on rural PWI campuses, right? Because yes,
yep,
we have HBCUs and there are black men at HBCUs, but there are also black men at PWIs who are attending who also need that support, that pouring, that love, that extra bit of concern, right? And so, how do these student support programs really benefit not only matriculation but also student success and graduation?
right. So there was something that you would read. So who were I know you had the group together, right? And that's processed by osmosis, you uplift each other. Who was someone ahead of you, like a mentor? Did you have a mentor or someone above you further in experience that was somewhat of a guide for you during your doctoral journey?
My old boss, her name was Dr. Cleature Peters, right? She's my boss at Bethune-Cookman University, and I mean, I would just kind of give those my fears and my questions, like, yo, this is just not for me. I'm tired, right? Dr. Yasmin Farley, another one of my coworkers at Bethune-Cookman University, Dr. Prince Robertson, also my coworker from Bethune-Cookman University. But these people, they understood that they had been there, so they understood what it
They
was
went
like.
through it. Yeah, they went through the haze.
So able to give me a real sense of, hey, you got this. Don't give up. Don't throw in the towel, and that you can finish this. Right? It's hard for right now, but once you get done, it's much better on the other side.
What was after you're done, right? Like you got the name doctor, and we're not going to say magic window, your life changed, but what was
I wish it
one thing
was
that, like,
okay.
as soon as you cross the stage, one real benefit, like, wow, this, not say success, but like everyone thinks that, like, how we always put like a carrot in front of us, right? Like I know about this, like when I crossed in the alpha, right? I'm like, yeah, when I become an alpha, my life is going to change. And I become an alpha, and I'm like, oh, I'm just like, it's like after the honeymoon's over, you're just a normal person still, right? Like nothing. There was no super transformation. What was that like after you got your doctoral? Like, what was something that like was like, wow, man, I did it, and then this good fortune came out of it afterwards.
I mean, I'm still waiting on the big money, as people say, the big money. I'm still waiting on that. Amen.
Yeah.
I think just the satisfaction recognition that I was done, right?
Yes.
And that I joined this elite 2% of people,
Yeah.
black people across the world who have a doctorate. And I think it's a test to resilience and to um, being locked in to reach all your goals in spite of anything that may come. Like I said, I had a wealth of, I shouldn't say a wealth, but we had several deaths in my family during my program that just really could have took me out. And I was like,
Yes.
I've got to keep on going. I dedicated my degree not only to those with pet, but also my nephews, right? I have three nephews that I love.
Mhm.
Those are my heart, Elijah, Ellis, and Ezra. And those, I wanted to show them, you can do anything you put your mind to, regardless of what happens, what comes, who comes, who goes, that you can still get this done and be an impact to the world.
And it's very powerful. I think it's one is Portales. It speaks to your resilience as a person, but also thinks to you is just like see it and achieve it. Like sometimes you don't even have to do something super, like you're doing something super spectacular, but just you being is an example, and your nephews can look at that, right? And so just that walking and navigating life, you never know that you could just be an example to someone. Um, what are you? So how old are your nephews now? Those nephews that you talked about.
Oh gosh, let me see. What's this, 2026? So
Yeah.
11, 7, and 3.
Okay, so they're young. Do they? Okay, I was about to say when they call you, Uncle Kev. Are they? Do you think they want to go to college and all that stuff by looking at you, or you
I
know,
think they
12
will.
year old at least? You know what I'm saying? Or I know the 3 year olds like
Now,
whatever.
of course, everybody say their nephews are, but my nephews are brilliant, right? And so
Yeah.
it is my hope that they do. But then as I get older, Philip, I'm also a person, I want you to follow your heart and follow your dreams. As we know, college is not for everybody. I'm
Mhm.
not going to set you up for failure knowing this is not something that you want to do. If my nephew said, "Hey, Unc, I want to go to school for video game design," not necessarily a 4-year program or esports, or I want to go be a
Mhm.
welder. Well, by all means, we're gonna support you, right? Because
Yep.
those are careers that we also need in the world. I think people forget about, yes, you can get trained, but there's also that skilled labor that will never go out of style. You can never automate, a plumber, you know? And so, even if they don't decide to go, I'm still proud of them and I'm gonna support the journey that they're on.
And one of the things I always appreciate, and is the people that have a active mindset in giving back. To much is given, much is required. And so it's been 11 years, right, since you've been given scholarships and working with people. Can you talk a little bit about that journey, why you started 11 years ago, and just why is that important to you? Because that's a great story to share.
Absolutely. So I started the Vision of Excellence. I just want to be able to give what somebody gave to me, right? To pour back into somebody else. We all know that finances sometimes can be hard to come by. So I was like, hey God, whatever you give me, I want to be able to give a portion back, right? So, when I worked in Nebraska, I had 3 jobs. Okay. Don't ask me why I did that, but I was also 10 years younger. So I had more energy and I was ready to go. And everything that I did, everything that I do now, so my line dancing classes, when I host workshops or I host events, anything, facilitate, all that goes to my scholarship program, right? I want to use at the end of the day, I want to use all my skills, gifts, and talents to not only come home empty, but to be able to be a blessing to somebody else. And
Mhm.
so I started off with like simple stuff like laundry detergent, care packages, quarters, things like that. And then it grew into money because I was able to find those different avenues of um, extra money for me to
Yeah.
give back. Right.
So talk about the little formalized part. Now you have scholarship. Talk about the formalized. Like, when did that become? When it transferred, just giving money and care packages and all that, to, like, is it a formal scholarship? Kids apply. Like, talk a little bit about that.
It is. So the first 3.5 years, it was all, those care packages, quarters, laundry detergent, things like that, notes of affirmation. And in 2018, I awarded my first scholarship. It was $500. So over the last 7 years, I've been able to give right under $20,000. Right. And so just a huge blessing to be able to, to watch people. I remember when I called one young man and the way he broke down crying on the phone, I legit, I was like, you know what? See, I'm gonna hang up the phone now because I can't do this, right? He was so grateful for the He's like, I was $3,000 short, and this $1,000 is going, really help me. I mean, it's just a blessing to be able to give back and to watch your donations go to good to sow in a good ground.
Does your scholarship recipient, are they from Dayton or from all over the country? Are they in your
All over the
area?
country. I've had folks from as far as Los Angeles, California, Columbia, South Carolina, Detroit, Michigan, New York, Syracuse, New York. Mhm.
Is this a team of one, or you got other people helping you with the support of this scholarship and this
It was,
educational support?
it was a team of one for a long time. I scored all the applications myself. And
Yeah.
then I said, Kevin, you got friends that can help you out to work in education, right? Or all across these professional spectrums. Ask them to help you score some of these applications. And so I've been asking some of my friends to score the last 2 to 3 years.
And how do you market or promote? Does it have its own social media? Like, how do you get this opportunity out to the masses?
I'm in 75,000 group me's. Okay. So
Yeah, yeah,
I posted in every group me. Hey, listen, if you know
yes,
somebody, it's like that touch a neighbor and say, neighbor, if you know somebody, tell
yes,
them, right? I posted on LinkedIn when the application's
yes.
open, on Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok.
Get it out there.
I'm gonna tell it everywhere, right? So you can, if you know somebody, tell them to apply. I sent it to my old high school,
Yeah,
everybody.
get it out. And so, and my last question. So, it's for high school kids going to college, or college kids already in college?
High school, going to college for the very first time.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
love it. I love it. And you said you got to talk to them on the phone. Have you ever got to meet a recipient in person?
I did. I met my last recipient. He's a student at Kentucky State University. That was my very first KSU my recipient. And I
Yeah.
met him, what's this, 2020? I met him in 2024. Yep. He's a student at Kentucky State, and I met him in person. But one of my very first recipients lives here in South Carolina, lives like 45 minutes from me. And so our plan is to get together later on this month to meet and greet, because I've never met him before. But he's graduated, he's working on his master's now, doing amazing things, traveling the world. And so absolutely.
And it's crazy to think about it. You said masters, all this, like, look at the gateway you open. You'll never know the lives you touch, but now you get to see a few of these examples that reiterate and get you drive to keep going, because now you got some people, like, faces to those stories. You know what I'm saying?
It does. You know, he has his own scholarship program now, and so that's also warms my heart. And you know, I follow them on social media, and to watch some of the things they've been able to do is just it's awe inspiring, right?
So we're gonna land this plane, but I got one more question. You say you pour into yourself, you have a scholarship. I would say my last real question is, what's next for you? As in, and maybe it can be like, what's next for you, and not have to be work wise. Like, what's next for you to, like, pour back into yourself? What's next? What's something that you want to do? Maybe for 2026, what's something you want to do for yourself?
You know, Philip, I'm an avid traveler. I did not mention that. I love to travel. Okay. So for my 40th birthday in 2024, it was my pre 40th and also my doctoral gift to myself. I took a trip to Southeast Asia for 2 weeks. Absolutely loved it. Like, I take a big international trip every 2 weeks. So that was fun. You know, this year I'm looking to go. I want to go to Carnival in London. It's the
Okay.
Nottingham Carnival, and I want to go. It's a Caribbean festival. But I'm also trying to figure out where I want to go. What's next? I want to be able to award more scholarship money, right? And then some of the things that I've put on the back burner, I want to be able to really tap into some of those other aspirations and dreams and side hustles and businesses that I want to create to really get them off the ground. That is the goal in 2026.
I love it. So that's the part of the show I surprise you. It's called Shot for Shot. You get to ask me a random question. I get to ask you a random question. You want to go first, or I go first?
Absolutely. Philip, if you had the opportunity, if I'm hosting a cookout and I said, Philip, I need you to bring something to express your personality, what would you bring to the cookout?
Personally, I don't know if this expresses my personality, but I do make a pretty good mac and cheese, and I actually stand firm on
Yeah, I
that.
was gonna say that, Philip. Now
So
you know we fight about our mac and cheese now.
I know, and I'm pretty confident about it. And I think that, okay, that is like, I make it a good enough mac and cheese that is something where, like you said, I had to be confident about it, or I wouldn't bring it. And that's kind of, I guess that is like my personality. I'm confident in myself. I wouldn't show up. So I guess that mac and cheese is like me, because like, I wouldn't, I learned it, I made it. It's not a box mac, it's not a box mac and cheese. It's a homemade mac and cheese. I don't do, like, nasty breadcrumbs or something like that. I make a real mac and cheese, and like, and it's something that I feel I could stand on business about. So that'll be my cookout thing, and I think that does go with my personality, as I'm pretty confident in myself that I would show. I'm also an extrovert, so I'm not really shy to show up to places I don't know nobody, right? Like, if you say, here's a cookout for me, like, your people, I'm gonna bring it and make, like, I'm not worried about who's gonna be there. I'm just gonna show up because you invited me. So it's kind of like my personality.
You know, I tell folks I am the party. Okay, when I come to party, I am the party, right? And I'm gonna have a good time, whether it's me, you, or two other people. We're gonna have a good time.
Love it. So line dancing, this is my last, so we do shot for shot. My question is,
Okay.
talk a little bit about that line dancing. I got a friend that does it. Is it like the Chicago two-step kind of line dance? My friend, she's
No.
a stepper. Like the stepper, is
So
that the kind of line dance you do? Or is it a
no,
different type of line dance?
I do, more like, I guess you could say, and I hate to use these, but like, boots on the ground or the wobble or the cupid. Now I try not to
Okay.
do those because there are 1,000 other line dances that you can do. You can teach that are super easy and super simple and very
Yeah.
interactive. But I do those. I do those types of dances. So beginner all the way up to advanced. Those are the dances that I do.
So
And
like the line dance, because I think it's like she showed me, she do like the Chicago step, and they do this like spinning stuff. That's a
now
different type of dance club,
it is.
extracurricular. Still doing it, my
It is.
friend, my good friend Shay.
Now I can do it. I don't teach it, but I can do it. Yeah, like I love
Okay.
it. Like when it comes on, we're gonna have a good time.
All right, I love it. I love music. I love that.
That's
You told me
it,
she wanted
right?
to take me one time. I was like, man, I got 2 left feet. That part, but whatever. I'll get over it.
Listen, I promise you, if you go to a few classes, you I can do that. I got this. Let's go. Let's do it again. You'll love
I
it.
love it. I love it.
And you
All
meet
right.
such great people.
So this is the part of the show called shout outs and plugs. So this is the
Okay.
opportunity as we land the plane for you to give shout outs and show love to anyone you want to show love to. And then plugs. These are things where I'll follow up with you, but things that you want me to put in the show notes, things like your side hustle, your business, things that you want people to plugs, right? Shout outs and plugs. So the floor is yours. Shout outs and plugs.
Oh gosh, that is so hard. That's so hard, though. It's a lot of people. Um, oh gosh. I'm gonna shout out my family at Kentucky State University. That's where I got my foundation. I will always be grateful to those at the house on the hill for what they poured into me. You know, the folks that I mentioned earlier at Kentucky State University. I want to give a huge shout out to Nicole Daniels. Nicole Daniels, she worked at Kentucky State as an admissions counselor. And when she became a director of admissions at Livingstone College in North Carolina, she gave me my very first job in higher ed in 2008. So I'm always going to shout her out to Jacqueline Thurman, to Cleature Peters, to Charles Ed Foster, to um, Kendrick Durham, Dominique Quarles, to Johnny Surrey. These are folks that I have had the opportunity to work with and helped me in the field of higher education, gave me another opportunity. So I'm always grateful to those individuals. Of course, my fraternity brothers of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. Okay. That brotherhood scholarship and service is something that will always be near and dear to my heart. To my nephews, Elijah, Ellis, and Ezra, I love y'all so very much. To my mama, okay, because without my mama, I wouldn't be here at all, okay. To my sisters, right? I love y'all. And I should have said this first, but to all things, to God be the glory, right? Because without Him, I wouldn't be nothing. I wouldn't be what I am today. And so, if it wasn't for God, my mama, and Kentucky State University, as one of my other mentors says, I wouldn't be where I am today. But so grateful for all those who poured into my life, whether you prayed for me, you gave me words of affirmation and encouragement, or you just helped me along the way. I just want to say thank you. And I don't want to forget anybody, so I'm not going to keep naming names, but thank y'all. If you've done anything, thank you for me. Okay, plug time. Okay, listen,
Yes.
follow the Wednesday Experience podcast. We're currently on season 5, wrapping that up, but we're on Spotify and Apple and Google Podcasts. Feel free, and on, yes, it's Spotify. So you can follow us on there. I'm also on TikTok. You can follow me at Blue Soul 1914 on TikTok. I'm on Instagram at The Entertainer, TheEentertainer, all one word. You can follow me on LinkedIn at Kevin Reese, EDD. I do these things called Marvelous Monday Indeed, and I love my Marvelous Monday thoughts. They're always super dope. Let me see what else. Yeah, I think that's about it. And I'm gonna shout out Philip Wilkerson, y'all, because listen, as my granny said, people don't have to be kind or be nice to you or invite you to their spot. But when they do, you ought to be thankful, right? So shout out to Philip for hosting a conversation that has a positive filter because we see enough negativity in the world, right? So we're gonna put out a little bit of positivity. I'm gonna shout you out. All my brothers who work in higher education, keep up the great work, and to my sisters too. We have a responsibility in building and crafting and molding the next generation of leaders. And so, if you ever have a day where you feel like, nobody cares, it doesn't matter, understand that I see you, I appreciate you, and I am applauding you for a job well done. But in the meantime, between time, I want you to govern yourselves accordingly. Drink lots of water, mind your business, pay attention, stay in your own lane. Be grateful for absolutely everything. Don't forget to smile as much as you can. And whatever you do, don't forget to put on lotion because you cannot be ashy and be successful. I'll talk to y'all later.
Okay, I gotta do the last part. I gotta make sure I put on lotion. That's crazy because I forget. So now I know the lotion was a success. I gotta tell my kids that, John. Like you can't be
Absolutely.
she is successful. That's crazy work.
Be
That's
successful.
crazy. That's like okay. Like I'm looking at my elbows now. Like oh god. All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm still calling Dr. Reese. Give you that respect salute that is
I
due.
appreciate it.
Positive Filter listeners, thank you for listening to another episode of Positive Filter. If you're interested, please share, like, subscribe, and elevate the podcast. That's how it works. As you know, every episode is dedicated to the memory of my late father-in-law, Jeff Kirsch. So please consider donating to the Jeff Kirsch Anti-Hunger Fund for all the work he did fighting food insecurity around the world. And secondly, if you're a member of the Mason Nation, please consider submitting a Patch for Patriots to show kindness to someone else here on the Mason community. So I'll put that in the show notes. Thank you for another great episode. Please continue to listen, support, and have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Positive Philter, a podcast that focuses on family, friends, career, with a little self-help along the way. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your family and friends, and like the Facebook page, Spreading Positivity of Movement. Thanks for listening.